Hey there, everybody, and welcome back. This week, we're going to try something a little bit different. So I hope that you'll bear with me as we try a little bit more tech here. I'm going to share my screen with you in a little bit. But what the Lord has really laid on my heart for quite some time is to talk to you all about internet safety. And this is a topic that I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time setting the stage for. I think that generally we have a knowledge of the fact that there is danger that lurks out there. There are things and people and um, images and so on that are coming after all of us through the internet, through other technology and audiovisual means that we need to be guarded about. So I'm going to assume that you all are on the same page that that is a need. But we're going to talk practically about how you address that need. First of all, I wanted to share with you the fact that this has been a real struggle for me. I came up after or before the internet generation. There was no internet when I was in high school. In fact, there was almost no internet when I was in college that was accessible, that was usable. There were no laptops and stuff like that. So by the time I was late in college, there were some chat rooms. Things were starting to pop up, but it was still dial-up. You still paid by the minute. You certainly didn't spend a whole lot of time online, or you would get in trouble with your parents. Don't ask me how I know that. But the whole world has changed since I was single and growing up, and so I don't have the privilege of looking at what my parents did and learning from them. This is a new trail that as parents now we are all blazing on our own. Now, some of you that are younger may have had some access, much more than I did, but I still think that the breadth of information that is out there, the breadth of really landmines that are out there is much larger even than when you were in high school. So all of this needs to be taken with a fresh look. The very first thing that I would encourage you to do is to not allow this to be an area that you are paralyzed by fear. This is something that Satan really won a victory on me for a long time because it was so unknown and it was so big in my head that I literally became paralyzed. And that fear that I felt about all that was lurking out there, it caused me to interact with my children in ways that weren't helpful. It caused me to make decisions that were strictly based on fear and nothing else, which are generally not good decisions that you can make. And it really caused me sleepless nights. It caused me not to trust the Lord. There were a lot of bad things that came out of that time when I really gave in to fear on this. And so I want to encourage you to trust the Lord in this. Be wise, be vigilant, be diligent, know what you're talking about, but trust that God will protect your children because he loves them more than you can even love them. So that is the first admonition that I would give you, is just trust him and don't give in to fear on this. The second thing, though, that I would really encourage you to do is come up with a strategy, a plan, a formulated mode of operation for your family. Do that with your spouse, and you should be in agreement on such things as what kind of devices are we going to allow our children to have? What kind of access are they going to have to the internet? How much time are they going to be able to spend? What kind of technology are we going to use in our homeschool? Because that question also affects all of these others. So you need to spend some time really studying and formulating your own technology plan for your family. That needs to be something that really, it's going to incorporate the other things that we say, but it needs to kind of predate some of these other things, because if you don't have a strategy, you're building out a plan based on really nothing. It could be shifting depending on what you hear next. So make sure you spend the time to build that strategy out with your spouse. Then third, you need to take the time to disciple your children. Make sure they are equipped with a solid knowledge of what the Bible says about what is good and evil, what is right, what is expedient, and what is not so good, what is, what is best. And then, a very easy principle to drive home to them is when the psalmist says, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. That should be a principle that guides what they look at on the internet, what they are watching on TV or movies, what they listen to. Even, it's not their eyes, but I will set no wicked thing. I will guard my heart. All of these principles are foundational for teaching your children to have discernment, so that when they are confronted with things, they can make wise choices and they can make godly choices. One of the things that as parents that we're always working for or towards is, as our children grow up, they are able to stand on their own, that they have to have that discernment, that foundation to do it. And this is a prime example of a way that you can prepare your children to do just that. That after you spend a good bit of time, and this is ongoing, we are constantly discipling our children regarding the internet and things that they see, and keep an open door. There will be things that will pop up that your children will honestly be innocent in. Let them know. They need to come and tell you. If an ad pops up that seems a little seedy, they need to let you know, because the predators, the people who are trying to get dirty content out, they have a lot of different ways of tracking people. And so you want to make sure that you're staying on top of any kind of an ad that pops up. I will tell you, one of our sons was playing games on a children's game site, and an ad for an adult game site popped up. So you need to be really, really diligent with watching all of these pop-ups, all of these things that happen, because you may think that they're at a very safe place, but at any given moment, stuff can come. So make sure that they are equipped, if they have any freedom at all on the internet, to know how to make those wise decisions and to flee from the temptations that will be thrown at them. Some of the practical things that we have done in our family is we have installed a router over which we have a lot of controls. And I really, really recommend that you do that. I'm going to show you how our router works in just a minute by sharing my screen with you. But I want to tell you, just as an overview, some of the things that we really like about the capabilities of this router. I'm not trying to sell you this router, but I'm trying to get you to start thinking that maybe you're going to want one beyond what your internet provider has provided for you. The router that we have gives us the ability from an app on my phone or from my computer to control what devices have access at any given time to the internet. I can block individual devices whenever I need to, and I can give access to individual devices whenever I need to. That's really, really powerful for a lot of reasons. Number one, during school hours, during hours when they need to be doing other things, I can remove that temptation because they just don't have access to it. At night, I am able to lock everything down so that if they were to wake up, if they couldn't sleep, at times when their judgment would probably be a little bit less strong, they would be more inclined to have poor judgment because they would be tired. I can remove those temptations at the router level. And actually, I do a stronger step with the overnight, because at the router level, I cut all internet coming out of our router from in the overnight hours, so that nobody with a children's login can get on the internet at night. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works. So bear with me while I change the screen, and then let's just hope that this new approach to our chat here works. Okay, this is the app on my computer as I see it. So I can see what devices are on. Now, all of my children right now are at co-op, so very few of the devices are even here. But Lizzie Gray left her iPad here. So as you can see right now, under parental controls, Lizzie Gray's iPad is set to the default level on router. In our family, I was able, because of so much communication, because of the way that we teach our kids throughout, with every step of the way, we have a pretty standard default level that I feel comfortable having most of them on. And that blocks a lot of the sketchier and more sinister things from coming into our house at all. So that is where she is. Right here is where I can block. I can deny her access to the internet whatsoever. But what I want to show you, I am able through here as well. If I feel like there's one of them that is struggling, that or perhaps they've been targeted with some stuff, I can change the level of access that they have. So if I were to set her parental controls at high, there would be very, very little access to anything beyond probably email on her device. So there is a lot that you can do to keep your children and actually yourselves safe this way. You'll see also that I've set up a bypass login, and that is one on which David and I can get on, and we have a little bit more freedom because I've blocked a lot of social media sites, a lot of things that we use for Teach Them Diligently to communicate with people, but they don't need access to it at their age. So that has been a very, very helpful thing. Again, under the router settings, I am able to block those wee small hours of the morning, which is another thing that has been very helpful in making sure that we keep everyone safe. So this has been a great addition to the security of our family on the internet. Another thing that I wanted to point out, we are members of Covenant Eyes, and that is the filtering software that we use on our computers. And the reason that we do, are many. One of the reasons that we do is it's both accountability and filtering. So as my children are growing and gaining more discernment, I'm able to take the filtering part off and allow them to just have that accountability so that they know that anywhere they go, I have access to, I can see, I'll get reports if there's anything sorted that they visit, but it's teaching them to monitor themselves. I am about to send one off to college in the next year or so. He needs to be able to manage his own usage because I'm not going to be there to babysit him. He needs to be able to make wise choices. And Covenant Eyes kind of grows with them and gives them accountability partners. David and I are accountability partners. We're able to make sure that there's no temptation that is getting to either one of us either that could lead us astray or be a problem. And so this particular software has been great. Another thing that we appreciate about, see if I can get to it, about Covenant Eyes is not only can we choose their filter settings and sites that we would block and allow. This is my youngest, so there's very little uniques that we note. With some of the older ones, there are some sites that I think that they may find themselves on that wouldn't necessarily be blocked, but I think the content's a little mature for them, so I just arbitrarily block them. But I'm also, from this portal, let me make this one smaller, I am able to block times as well. So not only when they are home do we have their devices locked down in the wee small hours of the morning, but also when they're at grandma's or when they're traveling, if they have these devices, the Covenant Eyes will block any kind of access as well. So again, this is not to sell you Covenant Eyes, although we highly recommend it, and there is a link to learn more about it. But even stronger, I recommend that you have something on your computer. You absolutely must be wise, be diligent, and protect your children. But most of all, you need to make sure that you prepare them spiritually to have the discernment that they need to make godly choices, and that your whole family is on the same page and moving in the same direction when it comes to internet safety. So I hope that this has been a time where we've captured your imagination a little bit, given you some things to think about. I definitely want to encourage you to do some research. I'm going to link a lot of things down below. Come up with your own plan, your own strategy within your family, and then make sure that you're talking to your children about it. Give them the tools that they need to make wise, godly decisions. then get yourself a good router and a filtering software so that you know that you have the peace of mind that you've done everything that you can to protect your family as much as you can. Then always trust the Lord to take care of things when when it is out of your control. So I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you again next week.
If you enjoyed that video, make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss a single update. We have interviews with speakers and experts, tips coming your way all year long. So subscribe today.